who joins us now from Eastern Long Island, where I don't know what he's doing out there. He's certainly not getting a haircut. There are a lot of barbershops out where you are, and I'll treat you. You're 80 years old, Rivera. I mean, you look like one of the Rolling Stones. Come on, what are you doing?
who are all my age. This reminds me of Saturday Night Live, the news for the hard of hearing. I'm going to really blast it. So
that's right. News for the hard of hearing. Hello. Well, we're both old guys, but we could do a much better job moderating a debate with Trump than anybody else. I'm sorry. That's the truth.
I did try to go to Orlando's today to get my hair cut, but there was traffic. And I got late. I started running late, so I aborted my mission. I promise next time I am seen by tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll get it.
Well, they're gonna need a power mower to do that, so be careful. So I saw you on the Dopey View last week, and there was one thing you said that I think you were wrong about, but you handled yourself pretty well. What people don't understand is, guys like you and me are professionals. We go way, way back. Okay, and when somebody pays you over a period of time, it's not classy to trash them, even if you want to trash them. Would you agree with that?
I took Fox's money for 23 years. I think it would be the height of ingratitude for me to then attack the people who put food on my family's table these many years. I had lots of friends at Fox, you among them during the day. Even though we had ferocious debates, you and I, we could at the end of it, dust ourselves off and shake hands and go on to another day. I care deeply for a lot of them. I'll start naming them if you want. I got jammed up. It was one of those personality conflicts. I had a toxic relationship with one of the cast members on.
Yeah, it was Gutfeld, but that's not what it was. That's not what it was.
Well,
Fox News now is not the same operation that it was 8 years ago, 7 years ago. Total management change, total philosophy change. Everything has changed. So dinosaurs like you and me, we don't belong there any longer, because I know you for a long time, and you actually want to know the truth about whatever it may be. Am I correct in stating that?
Yes, you are.
Okay, and so do I. That's no longer in play, not at Fox specifically, anywhere. Any television news operation, the truth is about ninth down on the list. It's get the audience that is your choir and give the choir the song they want. And that's why Fox got in trouble with the voting machines. Okay, so you and I, we don't fit into that puzzle any longer. Puzzle still makes a lot of money, but not nearly what it did make. It's a deterioration across the board. And if you look at the popular polls, whether people trust the media or not, nobody trusts the media any longer, because they know they're being patronized and lied to by a lot of these people. Am I wrong?
Well, I think that in terms of patronizing, I think for sure, whether they're conscious falsehoods, that's where Fox got in the big jam. When they discovered that a conscious falsehood, that is that the 2020 election was rigged, that Trump was the legitimate president, that he could use any means necessary to hold on to office. When they understood that there was an audience for that baloney, that's where Fox stepped off the cliff.
Of course, but if I were there at 8 o'clock, that never would have happened. You know it wouldn't have happened.
Well, I think that it would have been a whole different equation.
I blew that thing out of the water here on my independent news service. I blew that out of the water 3 weeks after the vote. I lost premium members. They didn't want to hear it. But if I were on Fox at that time, I would have blown that thing right out of the water and nobody would have gone up against me. because that's how powerful a factor was. But they don't have that now. There's no control. Again, no control at CNN, no control at NBC News, ABC, CBS. They are running, it's not a bunco operation. It's an operation that doesn't care about the truth. They care about money. Now, let me get into where I quibble with you on The View. I have investigated this as thoroughly as it can be investigated. Donald Trump did not instigate January 6th. He failed on the day because he panicked and he froze. But he didn't instigate it. He wasn't saying, I want violence at the Capitol. In fact, it didn't even occur to him that it might happen until early morning. And again, he didn't mobilize. He didn't do what he should have done by calling that off really fast in a hard way. He did not. But he didn't instigate it. And the week before proves it with the back and forth with the Pentagon, put the National Guard on alert, the back and forth with the Capitol authorities coming out of the White House. It's provable. That's why he has not been indicted on that insurrection business, and he won't be. Okay?
He was impeached. He was
But
impeached.
you said on The View that he instigated it, and you're wrong.
I believe, I have to clean up one thing, and then let me address that. What I want to clean up. It is not sufficient to say that everybody does it. Everybody
I'm not
caters
saying
the
that.
truth to get a rating. I think that what Fox did was unique. At least it was unique in terms of the paper trail left, the digital trail left, where they showed certain hosts saying something, then going on the air and saying something else. I think that was it. If it was not unique, it was certainly the most egregious example. Now, in terms of what Trump did, I supported Donald Trump, who I've known, as you have, for decades. I love this guy. I lost friends over the fact that I supported him. And he had a pretty good presidency. And he was a viable candidate for re-election. But when he lost, it was scant days. The last
That's
time
a whole different issue. That's a whole different issue. You're right.
Let me get to your issue. When the last time Trump used to call my house every week without fail. The last time we spoke was Friday, the 13th of November. I said, what are you going to do? He said he's a realist. So I said, okay, he's a realist. It's a slow count, extraordinary circumstances, the pandemic and so forth. He'll see the light as we are all seeing the light. He never did. In fact, he went the opposite direction. He got more and more irrational in terms, in my opinion, you give your opinion, let me give my opinion. In my opinion, he got more and more irrational, more and more radicalized. He screwed up the vote in Georgia because he was such an egotist about it. And then if he did not incite that riot, who did? It wasn't a spontaneous combustion.
Listen, there's a difference between incite and instigate. So you can make a subjective argument that because he was so vehement that the election was fixed, that led these people to violence. You can make that philosophical argument. But the argument that the View ladies are making is that he wanted that violence at the Capitol. That's not true, and I know it's not true. Now, as far as him believing that the election was fraudulent, he believes it because people believe what they want to believe, Geraldo. You know that. And
do you think he would have given up his office? Would he have at some point succumbed to the inevitable and watched the vice president sign the electoral documents and allow
all of those things were wrong? And believe in history, he did a good job governing, but that's going to override what he did for 4 years.
I agree.
Because Al Gore could have done the same thing when he hung it up against Bush the Younger. He could have done it, but he didn't do it.
Agreed.
Agreed. And Trump just won't, to this moment, let it go. He won't. You know, when I did my 4 history tours with him, you know about those shows, right?
Big hits.
I told him, you can't even mention the election because I'm not going to sit there and feed into that. And he didn't for 4 shows, not once. But I know for a fact that he believes it because people believe what they want to believe. Now, last question, because I know you have to go take a nap before your haircut. Okay. I want to use you on a regular basis. I'm not going to torture you, but maybe once or twice a month on media, because the media is collapsing before our eyes, and you and me, we know the media in this country better than anybody. So are you willing to put up with me to do that?
I've been putting up with you for decades, O'Reilly. That people should go into.
But you're going to have to name names.
Some of the fistfights.
You're going to have to name names, like Gutfeld harpooned you. All right, you didn't name him, and I admire that.
Who cares about him? Who cares about Little Napoleon?
I care about Gutfeld. I put Gutfeld on the factor with Bernard McGurk, and that he ascended. But what I'm trying to get across to you is I know why you didn't mention Gutfeld's name on The View and in other interviews. But going forward, you're going to have to name the names of the villains in the media. Are you willing to do that? Well,
I am willing to point out what Fox did or what any other, transgressor
everybody
does. I have always been unafraid. You cannot scare me. My legacy is, and I appreciate your statements when I did finally give it up, when I did finally quit after I was fired from the Five. When I was fired from the Five, I quit Fox News because I said, screw you, it took away the #1 rated show. I'm not going to stick around. So I left. But I've worked hard all my life. Thank God I am beholden to none right now except my family. I don't have to go running off to go to work for anyone else. I can be on my boat if that is what I care to do. I can participate in the national dialogue if that's what I care to do. If, you and I get a conversation going as you do with Chris Cuomo, I think that's great. I think that's wonderful.
That's what we're going to do. We're going to storm it.
Television. And we can say to any of these people, any of these big corporate people and the big machas and the high rollers, screw you. We have.
That's right. I run my own show now, and you're semi-retired, but I don't want you to retire, so I'm going to bring you on. I'm going to torture you. And the best part is, you and I, we don't see things eye to eye. The problem with cable news is they bring on guests and everybody agrees. It's no longer O'Reilly Geraldo shooting it out over criminal illegal aliens. And if you didn't see that, you got to Google that, because that was either a high point or low point in cable news, depending on your point of view. All right, we'll see you soon.
Migrants will be the saving grace of this country.
Okay. Tell the barber to give you a mohawk tomorrow, okay? That's what I want to see next time I see you.
All right.
Geraldo Rivera, everybody. Give him a hand.